So, welcome everyone. It's good to see you. The topic of this week, let me have a look. It's Headflix and deception. So by Headflix I refer to our head movies, various fantasies, opinions, perceptions and so forth that we have, that we harbor very often. And deception, well. And so today's particular topic is how to unsubscribe from Headflix. And whether that is necessary or not. So most people who have never had any experience of meditation or any spiritual practice or self-reflection, they never really see that their mind is very, very active and thinks a lot, has a lot of opinions, a lot of views, beliefs, thoughts all day long. We usually don't see that. There's much more tendency to feel like that they are the one who thinks. I am the voice in my head. And, we don't think that. So I'm not waking up in the morning and then I'm going, okay, I'm ready for another day where I am the voice in my head. It usually just happens. It's very natural. It feels very, very natural. We never question it. We never notice it. So that's the kind of quote-unquote normal state in this world. Being hopelessly, completely lost and identified with the voice in our heads, our brain activity, thought. So that can lead to all kinds of weird behaviors. If you look into this world and have a look at human history, how we treat each other, what we do collectively, then it might appear quite absurd at times. For example, we wage war for the sake of being at peace, which is quite ridiculous in itself. We yell at someone else for the sake of them listening to us, which has exactly the opposite effect, right? If you yell at someone, all they want to do is get away. They don't want to listen to you. Right? So it's all these kind of behaviors that we have, that we all try to be happy, all of us. Nobody wants to suffer. Nobody is actively looking for suffering and pain. Even those people who do inflict harm on themselves, they do so for another reason. Either to escape the suffering of this life, maybe they kill themselves, or to feel more alive. Some people cut themselves and so forth. It makes them feel more alive. The pain makes them feel like they exist. So the pain itself is not really the goal, but the feeling of I still exist, I'm still here, is the goal of that. So regardless what we do, is always we're looking for some form of relief, some form of an end of suffering, or for happiness and peace, well-being and comfort. And so the mind is continuously busy doing that. It does that in thoughts. It tries to figure out life. It tries to figure out ways in how should I be so that I do not have to suffer and so that I attain a lot of happiness and well-being. And then we are all subject to a certain learning, subject to a certain conditioning in our cultures, in our societies. We all have kind of different ideas, also different families, different ideas of what it is that leads to happiness. In some families, it's really important that you are successful. You have to be the lawyer, the doctor, you have to be rich and wealthy, and then that means you've made it, you're successful. And so being conditioned by such a family, by such an upbringing, then we would tend to chase that throughout the rest of our lives. For some other people, they primarily identify happiness with good looks. So they continuously try to get that good look and try to maintain it. And they're absolutely devastated when that good look somehow is threatened or falls away, or someone else criticizes their looks. It's very painful for them. For other people, it's intellect, being very intellectual, being very intelligent, knowing a lot. Those other people who can quote from all these books, I've read Kant, I've read this and that, and Karl Marx, and he wrote that, and very, very intelligent, very well-read people. They identify themselves by that intelligence, by knowing a lot of literature, noble literature, really, really well, or classical music. So they build this kind of persona. Me sitting, smoking a pipe, listening to classical music, Bach, both Mozart, Beethoven, while studying the ancient literature. That's then the intellectual me that is threatened by a loss of intellect, or by maybe someone who is even more well-versed or more intellectual. And so we're all building these personas that we have learned to build in the hope that they will lead to some sort of fulfillment, some sort of end of pain and suffering. And what these personas do is they continuously play their movies. Different personas, different types of genres as well. For example, Netflix, they have this feature that when you like a certain movie, then you are suggested movies that are similar. Right? You've noticed it, probably those of you who know these kind of services, then you know that they suggest movies that you might like. They do it in YouTube too, right? So you watch one video, then they show you similar things that are kind of related to that. And the mind works in a very similar way. If you dwell with a certain type of genre a lot, the mind will suggest movies, concepts, ideas, belief systems that match with that. Because it's very likely that you will buy into them. For example, if you are a positive thinker, you're very unlikely to buy into negative thought. So when negative thought arises in your mind, you might not even notice it if you're really good at that. You might also be busy suppressing it. So then you have that suppression movie going on, like suppressing the negative. Like I'm the hero suppressing every bit of negative that's left in me. I'll be a good person. So that's maybe your movie going on. Trying to be the good person. I want to be a good person at all costs. And usually we don't notice these movies. They're very underlying attitudes, character traits. They feel so natural. They feel like your skin. You don't really notice your skin. Like, oh, I have skin. Like in the morning when you wake up. Oh, there is skin. I have skin. What's that? Skin. Wow. It's not something that's obvious. You just have it. It's so close to you that you don't even notice it. Or another example would be like your own eyes. It's very hard to see them. You need a mirror to see them. And even then, if you're looking into the reflection of a mirror, you don't really see your eyes. You see a reflection of your eyes. You might also think about your eyes that's similar. It's a reflection of your eyes. It's not actually your eyes. So when we're continuously lost in our head movies, in our character traits, in our various attitudes and so forth, then we kind of embody them. We live through them. That I would call being totally subscribed to a certain belief system or to a certain character, a certain sense of me, a self-image. When you say your name, You can try that. Maybe this evening when you go into your bed and it's calm and quiet and you're all by yourself, say your own name. It's like almost like you're calling yourself. Tobi, Tobi. What do I mean by that? What's the feeling of Tobi? What do I refer to when I say that word, Tobi? I am Tobi. You can stand in front of the mirror also and say, I am Tobi. I am Tobi. Say it many times until it starts to sound weird, because it is weird. And it's so natural for us to be just identified with this word, that this is how we think, this is who I am. I'm Tobi. And we don't even question that. What does that mean? I am Tobi. That's what I am. I'm Tobi. Stand in front of the mirror and say it to yourself. I'm Tobi. Hello, Tobi. It's nice to meet you, Tobi. Make sure that nobody sees you when you're doing that. But play a little bit with these ideas that we have of ourselves. And you will notice that it's not just a name, it's not just a word, but it comes with a whole feeling of me, self. This is who I am. It kind of indicates your life story also. The past, the future, where I'm supposed to go, what's supposed to happen in my life, or what might happen that's very scary or something I try to avoid. All that, it's implicated in when I say I am Tobi. It carries the weight of all these implications. Oh, past and future, my past, my future, who I am, my whole story. I see myself in terms of this life story, this whole movie that goes on in my brain. And the brain is a fascinating organ. It simply records things. And it grows according to your tendencies. So the brain is it's like Headflix, it creates a neuronal network according to your preferences, according to your thought preference, your emotional preferences. So it kind of gives you constantly similar things that you know, things that you're used to. So you're never really threatened in your worldview. That's why it's so damn hard to really get out of your comfort zone. That's why we often need guidance to get out of our comfort zone, because we ourselves would not really get out of it. We either have people around us who do that by example, or who lead you directly out of your comfort zone. It's the unknown. For a person, for example, that suffers from depression, let's say. Depression, their brain, their whole nervous system in their whole body, their hormonal household, everything is wired so that the preference of depression is maintained on a consistent basis, as consistently as possible. So they will constantly kind of have it in the back of their minds, that feeling, the energy of depression, the lack of motivation. It's we can say at some point we have mastered this particular makeup. And that doesn't happen because you choose to make it happen. Nobody would. Right? We don't choose consciously, here is how I'm going to wire myself for the rest of my life. But we're kind of wired by our circumstances, by the people that we hang out with. That's why company is so important. To hang out with right people. To hang out with people that embody your goals. That is the fast route to your goals. So if you want to be enlightened, it's very wise to hang out with enlightened people. If you want to be a good practitioner, it's good to hang out with good practitioners. Want to be good at golf? Hang out with golf pros. or people who are good at it, right? So then naturally you take on these qualities. This is our nervous system is wiring itself according to the circumstances and to the preferences that we have, like what we pay attention to throughout the day. What is it that I'm paying attention to? What kind of movies do I watch? Or what kind of movies do I watch passionately? That's what my brain will serve me more and more. And it's not because my brain has a life of its own and it goes like, oh, there is Tobi over there and he wants to watch that kind of movie, so I'm going to give him that kind of movie. It's not, it's just like automatic. It's nature. Every cell in your brain it's doing its natural job. It's not because your brain is good or bad. You know, oh, I have a bad brain. That's your brain talking. And what is that? What is really going on in the brain? Unfiltered. Well, it's just electricity. If you can see your thoughts as that clearly, you can detach a little. Or a lot. Depending on how deeply you really see that. What are feelings in your body? When you feel a feeling, well, it's the movement of nervous impulses, the movement of hormones in your bloodstream. It makes you feel something. Now, are feelings as such good or bad? No. No, they're not. They're just feelings. So I want to see right through the fabrication of the brain as it interprets the feelings. It says, oh, that feeling is a threat. Need to get rid of it. That feeling is great. Need to get more of it. You look through it. That's how you unsubscribe. Unsubscribing doesn't mean trying to shut down your brain, which would be an absurd attempt of the brain to kill itself, which is a lot of spiritual practitioners, they do that. They kind of try to get rid of their ego. Like ego turns into that enemy, you know. Oh, ego is bad. I need to get rid of my ego. It's like anger being angry at itself. Happens a lot. You get angry and you're supposed to be a spiritual person, so you shouldn't be angry. So then you go after your anger and you say, come on, why am I angry? Let's get rid of that feeling, like pushing it out, trying to use techniques, spiritual technologies, inhaling light, exhaling anger. These are legit techniques, like I'm not... These are okay, you can do it. You can inhale light and exhale anger, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It might be a very skillful thing to do. Then do it. But right now I'm talking about, unsubscribe from that whole drama that suggests you that anger was that bad thing that you must get rid of so you can be more pure. That story. You've got to be the hero. You need to transform all the negativity into positivity. These are movies. This is your brain being conditioned a certain way. You might have a Buddhist brain. For example, in my case, I have a Buddhist brain. It can be very, very nice to have a Buddhist brain. It can be a big harassment. Yeah, it can be in the way of peace. Sometimes I would say my Mara wears the robes of a monk. My delusions wear a monk's robe, and they constantly tell me where I mess up. Here, that wasn't very Buddhist. So, if your teacher would see that kind of thought, what would he think? He wouldn't think anything at all. Yeah. But my thoughts go, no, he would think that you are totally unworthy and bad, impure. And then I feel conceit. I feel very small. Oh God, I'm so much worse than everyone else. You're probably all much more enlightened than I am. Or I might feel on this kind of, I'm a much better meditator than all of you. You're all fidgeting around all the time. I haven't fidgeted once. You see, it's movies. Again, another one. Unsubscribe. It's deception. It's deception. Buying into what your brain regurgitates again and again and again. That's the ultimate deception. And one of the most fun kind of practices, actually, I do enjoy watching movies every now and then, yeah. So when you watch a movie, turn it into a practice. When you entertain anyways, you can turn it into your spiritual practice. So you get some benefit out of it. So you watch a movie. Now, try that. While you're watching the movie, also feel your body. Don't forget your body. Keep your body in mind. You watch the movie, and part of your mind stays aware of the body, particularly in terms of tension and release. Are you building tension or not? And you will notice that every single time you forget your body and you come back to it, it is more tense than before. Every single time. Like your shoulders went up a little bit, the chest went a bit more tight, the belly became tight. Doesn't matter what kind of movie you watch a romantic love movie or a horror movie or whatever it is. You play with the genres and you will notice it's always tension, even if it's a happy, fun movie. As soon as you forget that you are watching a movie, you become tense. You become a bit more uncomfortable. So I'm not saying take the fun out of watching movies and just be aware, because then you're just aware and kind of indifferent and everything is kind of like, yeah, well, it's just a movie, I can't be moved anymore, it's like everything is flat. No, not at all. It's kind of like the best seat in the cinema is the seat of awareness, watching with consciousness, being fully there as you watch. One reason why people are afraid of death is because it reminds them that they don't live quite directly. And that scares the hell out of them. Oh, you know, my time is passing, and secretly, deep down inside, I know I'm wasting it for stuff that doesn't last, that doesn't matter. That's not really important. Deep down inside, we all know it. That's this kind of spiritual disease that we have. We all know that what we're doing isn't really essential in the big game of the universe. Somehow, all of us know. And it keeps us like racing after things and objects and stuff to grope after and try to somehow make everything right. That's a futile effort. Every time we are confronted with death, we see that clearly. Oh, that's uncomfortable. We don't want to face that, the discomfort. That's why proper meditation practice is pretty tough in the beginning. When you sit down and you have to deal with yourself, you kind of have to watch. There's so much chaos going on in the mind, you know. I'd rather do something else, of course. But you're doing it right. That's one of the most heroic and amazing and beautiful things you could ever do, to illuminate what is not yet illuminated. To see what is unseen. Yourself. The only thing you don't look at is yourself, right? Because everything else is easy. It appears to you. That's easy. This is an easy thing to see, right? Again, one of my favorite quotes up there, what you're looking for is where you are looking from. That's what that points to. It's something that we hardly ever see, is the seeing itself. Because we're naturally just looking at stuff that we see. Like movies. I'm watching movies, this movie and that movie. Even worse, we think we are the actors in those movies. The ultimate delusion. I'm Tobi and my future is going to be awesome. Very simplistic also, in a way, like almost cartoony. well, I'm Tobi and my future is going to be horrible, and now I need to do everything to avoid it becoming horrible. Very simplistic, like these typical movies where you have the bad guy and then there are the good guys coming in, the good guys kill the bad guy, happy end. You know, it's so simplistic, and our mind works like that. That's why it appeals to us. Oh, there's this tension of good and bad, and hopefully good will win, and then everything will be fine forever after. And we're looking for that continuously. The mind is looking for that. Okay, let me get rid of that bad thing and that bad thing, and then I can enjoy my goodness forever. It'll be awesome. And we might do that even spiritually. So kind of nirvana becomes the next thing to chase after, the next object to look for. Where is it? Maybe in the heart center. And then we focus on the heart center, completely forgetting the one who focuses. Looking for things, looking for objects, we're constantly lost. We're blinded by those things, literally. And so that's exactly what you can observe when you're watching movies. Being blinded by appearance. What is shown to you in a movie is not even real. It is made, fabricated. It is a deception. It is an actor that... Have you ever watched a really cheap movie like Sharknado or something like that? Like some sort of ridiculous old horror movie that looks so fake from the beginning to the end that you just couldn't enjoy it, and you were like laughing the whole movie long because of the acting being so ridiculous. You have to try, it's so funny.
There's Sharknado slot machines in casinos.
Oh, funny. So funny. It's all these kind of funny ideas, you know, that people have. And the acting, if it is not convincing, you don't buy into it. That's why you have these superstar actors, because they're extremely convincing. When you see them, you don't even know that they're acting. It's so convincing, you forget that you're watching a movie. Special effects, right? That if they're like super convincing, it's like, wow, you forget you're watching a movie. But that's the point. You forgetting the watcher. You're getting lost in what is seen. Getting lost in appearances is the point. And the tension that comes with it is the point. Oh God, tension, tension, tension. And then at the end, solution. That's what we're all looking for. And then we exit the movie. And some movies, they'll let you hang. No happy end. You don't know what's going to happen. Open end. And it leaves you with that bit of tension, which you then can solve by having a burger, or smoking a cigarette, or doing whatever next, having a conversation, frustrated conversation about what a bullshit ending that movie had, and why didn't they finish it properly. No, I really like open endings, so you can continue the tension mentally. It essentially, there's nothing really wrong with that. It's just something to be seen. I'm not encouraging you to say, oh, this is wrong. I shouldn't feel anything when I watch a movie. Rather, make the watcher seen. When you're watching a movie, make the watcher seen as a fun game. Try to notice that you're watching a movie. There's something that watches. What is it? What's watching it? What's really watching it? You can't answer that by thinking. It's my eyes, it's my brain, it's my nervous system. That's thinking. But there is an aware quality that is absolutely undeniable in each one of us. There's this consciousness that to which this world appears. It's undeniable. But we miss it because we're so busy with looking at it, at the appearances. So you play with Netflix, you play with Headflix, you play with both. Whenever you watch a movie, look at the way you get caught up, and then look at when you come back. Notice when you come back. How is that like when you come back? When you suddenly notice again that you're watching a movie. And then watch out for falling into the trap of indifference. Maybe you come back and you're like, oh, I'm totally neutral. I'm watching the movie from this kind of neutral. Now you're caught up in neutrality. That's another movie to be caught up in. It's another thing to be made seen. So you can have tons of fun with that. You can bring that into your own meditation practice. Looking at your thoughts. Tell your mind, sit down for half an hour and tell your mind, so well then do your thing. I'll just watch. Let your mind completely free. Let it do whatever it wants, but keep watching it. And the same thing will happen. You'll get lost in it. 10 minutes later you're like, oh, coming out of it again. Oh, I've been shopping for the last 10 minutes. I've been having yesterday's breakfast again. I went through some past troubles or future anticipations for the past 10 minutes without even knowing it. Suddenly you snap out of it again, and then you tell your mind then, okay, what's next? Show me the next movie. Try not to get lost in it. It's a very hard thing to do. And it will help you to grow in compassion. It will help you to grow in the understanding that we can't help it. Nobody can help it. Walking around, killing, shooting people, torturing people, we can't help it. You see? It helps you to forgive. The guy cutting you off he can't help it. The guy shouting at you, blaming you, criticizing you, he can't help it. The guy stealing stuff from your house, can't help it. It's automatic. And so reflecting like this, getting to know yourself like this, wow, I can't even help myself. I can't even do anything about my own mind going round and round and round, showing me movie after movie after movie. How about other people? How about people who never train? It's the same thing. Careful though, don't get caught in the next movie. Yeah, some people don't train. Poor guys. Fortunately, I train. Makes me much better than them. Careful, that's just another movie, and you can't help it, right? You can't help it but buying into the movie of me being better than others. Or me being worse than others, or whatever it is. Just keep on the lookout. Okay? So, that's all that comes to mind from unsubscribing from Headflix. Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Is there any questions?